Right, you know how this works. We've got 8 we've got this week. There we go. I thought it was a slow news week. There we are. Racing tax, first of all. This is all over the post. It's all over the industry, really, with the proposed legislation to Dave up the tax from 15% to bring it in line with casino gambling, etc., at 21%. The BHA projected figures right the way up to 40%, and just outlining the damage that would do. And obviously, everyone in the industry hopes it doesn't happen. There's a big push to ensure it doesn't. There is. It's been a concerted campaign. The submission's in now. And it's a case of waiting, isn't it? It's going to be hanging over us for a while before the decision's made. If it goes up to the current gaming level, they say 60 million. If everything goes up to 40%, they're talking about 160 million. And clearly, we're not a sport that can afford to take a hit of £60 million. It's been very, very clear what the repercussions are to the rural industries, the industry itself, how damaging the impact will be. But I don't know, I mean, these guys are far more involved in the day-to-day than I am. It just feels right now, you're powerless. You're just waiting for a decision somewhere down the line and just hope that the campaign has landed on the right ears. That's the key. Have we been speaking to the right people? It's been a very public campaign. We've seen that. The Racing Post, RMG have been helping drive it. Has the right message landed with the right people? That's what we're now relying upon. It feels like it's something that is on my agenda daily, really, and it's something we talk about a lot. I don't know in yards. Is there a palpable sense of, if this happens, our jobs could be in trouble or not?
I'm not sure that the reality of the decision, were it to be made, has set in yet. But when you're reading, the breeders have now sort of latched onto the fact that if racing loses that amount of money into its coffers, we're already struggling on prize money levels and situations like that. So it is going to cost all the way down through. We go back to prize money and how much money is put into it. Ultimately, it's prize money that pays for everything that we do. And anything that threatens the level of prize money is a huge threat to racing, breeding, and the industry all the way through. Yeah. Is there a decision? Do we have any idea of sort of time frame? I don't think we know. I think people are saying it could be a couple of months. I don't know when the actual final decision is made. We should say there's potential impacts everywhere, isn't there? Even if the racing tax remains untouched, if gaming tax goes up, whatever, bookmakers' discretionary spend might get cut. And discretionary spend for bookmakers away from media rights and levies, things like sponsorship. And we've got all the classics at the minute sponsored by Betfred. So I don't know how the dominoes are going to fall. Clearly nobody does, but I think there'll be some impact somewhere with whatever happens. Lord Allen, the saga rolls on. I feel we're in saga status, aren't we? It's got to be saga, yeah, and not the elderly holidays. This is a proper saga, isn't it? This. No, absolutely not. Obviously, the ROA came out with a defence recently, it's been levelled against the ROA and the Racecourse Association that they are essentially, or allegedly, the ones that are blocking Lord Allen's move in because of the parameters that he has set in place. We are surely decision imminent, but it feels like it's drifting that he's going to come in, odds-wise. Yeah, I have him firmly odds against now to come in. I don't know about you. I thought if he was going to come in, if this mandate was going to be delivered, it would be in place now. I mean, dear me, it was June the 4th, was it? He was due to start? We're now towards the end of July. We've talked upon racing tax, all the challenges racing is facing right now. If ever a sport needs strong leadership, senior figures in place with friends and in high places, it's right now. And the Lord Allen's proposals, the splitting of the BHA rolled into 2, the ROA concerns over how it would be funded. I wasn't quite sure where that was necessarily coming from, what the cost implications were from his move. I've never seen that explained. We've had the independent race courses. The RCA needs 75% approval to back it. There's questions over whether they'll get that. It's whether this proposal has landed. People talk about they're open to radical change. They think change needs to be made. But as soon as change is proposed, we're now 6-7 weeks in. Maybe this change isn't right. Maybe this wasn't the right scenario, but at least it was something. It was a plan that looked to be trying to take on some of the challenges that we clearly face as a sport. And right now, I'm with you. It's certainly not 5 to 6 each of 2, is it? Oh, no. I'd be long drifting, odds against drifting, that Lord Allen's going to be the new
chair under the remit that he's tried to put in place.
When's it ever 5 to 6 each or 2?
Very rarely. Yeah. Very rarely.
But a horseman perspective is that group, Ian, have always been quite positive, it feels, about Lord Allen coming in.
I think we've summed it up very well, but the long and short of it is that the BHA needs strong leadership, and the fact that we've been through this period when tax is a problem, the BHA needs somebody to step in and take control, but they need full support of the people around them to do that. And I think Lord Allen's, I would think, has probably upset a few of the parties, just trying to pull them together. But even if he doesn't join us, some of the work that he's done will have been beneficial to who takes over after this position in time is past.
It shed a fiercer spotlight again, I think, or a stronger spotlight on the issues that are ever present in the governance of the sport.
The issues in the governance of the sport, people have to give, and it's going to be very difficult for some to give and some not to. But for the benefit of horse racing, everybody has to sit down and just get this through and come up with a new way of managing. And I think Lord Allen has probably highlighted a lot of the issues within the industry.
I'm interested in the weighing room. Is this something that is discussed? Like, is it on the agenda? Do some guys come in and go, "Oh, what's the latest on Lord Allen?" Like, genuinely, or not really?
Not yet, no. No, it's not really been.
Do you feel a palpable sense that if he were to, it would have a direct impact on your day to day? I know you're going to Hong Kong, but let's pretend for a moment you weren't.
I think I agree with what Ian said. The BHA need to be strong, and ultimately we need our governors to be in charge and not be second-guessed by other parties in racing, really.
Plumpton, bad news for Plumpton, that a proposal to have houses built on their land, Dave, has been blocked by the council. Obviously, this has been a model adopted by a few racecourses now, but they wanted this to go through and it hasn't.
They did. They wanted money to invest in facilities. They're looking to upgrade their stables, invest in the racecourse, and this was their solution to finding the funds to do so. And we talk about racecourses and surviving and trying to attract people. Plumpton's lovely. I mean, I've rarely been, living in Yorkshire, it's quite a drive to, but I've been a couple of times, and it's a lovely racecourse, and they face fights for survival, and they're clearly very frustrated at this decision. I think it was 6 votes to 4 in the council against granting the permission. They've got an appeal. They're intending to appeal. It'd be interesting to see how it goes, because without that, and without the investment that they clearly think they need to make in their stables and their facilities, you'd be worried about how they can get business plans, etc., to move forward and move forward in a positive manner.
You a fan of Plumpton Racecourse, Ian?
I haven't been there for quite a long time, but it's got great character. And whilst they've been turned down by the council, a lot of these things aren't actually granted until they go to appeal. The decision was obviously very close in the committee meeting being 4 to 6, so I would imagine an appeal tweaking the application in the way that the council would potentially like it to be tweaked, and under certainly a more serious discussion. And the time to put your case to the council is very short. In an appeal, they'll have I'm sure, a good barrister, and they'll argue all the points that they feel are relative. And it would surprise me if, although it might need to be changed slightly, they don't get that decision at appeal.
Yeah, one thing that was flagged was that it didn't have a huge amount of time to put this case forward initially. As Ian said, that would change in the appeal. I guess it seems a pretty obvious model. With one thing that racecourses have is land.
Yeah.
And right now, that can be to your financial advantage.
It's a very valuable commodity, isn't it? Especially nice part of Sussex as well. There'll be a big demand for housing there, definitely.
Attendances are up. Good news. Obviously, there was a big national campaign launched earlier this year. Whether this is a direct result of that GBR campaign or not, I don't know. I don't know how you directly measure that. But either way, Ian, racecourses are seeing more footfall through the doors in the first 6 months of the year. at a time of concern and a certain amount of doom and gloom that we always have, this is a real positive. Racing is, still surviving as a real destination event anyway.
Well, it certainly is a destination, but there's a lot of work to do to keep it there and hopefully progress it more. Racing's a great sport. I've been intrigued by my children's friends. Isabella's 21, Harvey's 20. So many of their friends have betting apps on their phone now, and they enjoy the whole sort of gambling on racing. The important thing is to get them to the races, and I think we need to encourage more young people to go racing. Most of the reasons we're involved in racing is because of memories from childhood, and I feel quite strongly about Epsom and the centre of that course now. Why are we not filling that up with as many young people as possible? The Evades company do a wonderful job. Let them have it. Fill the place up. Let's get young people to the races. If we don't have young, enthusiastic people getting involved in racing, it has no future.
If your Invades in particular have done very well, I was at Nottingham recently, it was £9, I think, and it was heaving. But I think you need to be willing then, Richard, to embrace racing as a day out for people to go, for those types of people to go and have a drink and have a bet and have a good time and not care too much about what's going on track. I guess it's what do we want to be? But if you want to get people in through the doors initially, selling it as that is going to reap rewards, I think.
Well, I mean, obviously we've got to be happy that they're actually going up. We've been very negative and quick to down tread racing when the numbers have been dropping, but at least there's a trend of it coming up, and it can only be a positive, so hopefully it'll keep going the right way.
I thought it was interesting when we had Simon Michaelides in here, the now outgoing Chief Customer Officer at Great British Racing, with regards to the national campaign. Again, I don't know if this is the direct result of that, obviously it's early days, but the pitch is clearly, let's sell it as a day out, as a good fun thing to go and do with your time. Educating about the horses and the racing and the product can come later. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that seemed to be the clear stance. Maybe there is a trickle down then, so when people go for the day out, they then get hooked and they get that interest and they keep coming back.
And I think that's exactly how it should be. Get them to the races in the first place. Let them have their day out, enjoy it. There's no coincidence that Goodwood only sells out for the 3 Friday nights of the DJ sets, that Newmarket July meeting only ever sells out with the big music act, that York will have had twice as many people to see Ollie Murs on the summer Saturday than will be there for the Juddmonte International.
Ollie Murs at Carmel.
Ollie Murs at Carmel.
Ollie Murs at Carmel.
I mean, that's the dream combo. But you've got to, people want a day out. And the good thing is, clearly with these attendances, these numbers, racing is still seen as that. People do, it is on the radar for people to go and enjoy a good summer's day. The weather's helped. We've had the longest, driest spring, warmest summer for a while. That's definitely helped get people going. But it's our job to make sure that racing's there on the list, on the calendars of like, what can we do today? Horse racing's got to be in there. And if this, I'm not sure the advertising campaign is difficult to do. They are measured. You can measure in terms of impressions, where people click, etc. I'm sure we'll see all that data in some time. But what effect it's had, but it's got to be a good thing just to get people into the consciousness of people that, yeah, go and have a day out with the summer's racing. It's clearly working. People are going, which is good.
The ketamine positives, John Thady Gosden fined £3,000 for a horse testing positive for ketamine. Ian, a member of staff, has come out subsequently and held their hands up that they were responsible through cross-contamination. I mean, one thing I guess this shows is how difficult this can be to manage if you have an individual in your yard who has an issue.
Well, I think we're all aware that recreational drugs are now widespread, not only in stable staff but in the general public. So where there becomes a problem is the crossover between recreation and work. And the NTF now, they're actually putting out a scheme which is going to be very useful to trainers, which will help to enable us to test within working times, educate our staff and ourselves for that matter on the potential problems with contamination. And recreational drugs, I feel, is part of everyday life now. So the onus falls on us, the trainers, to manage our staff. But it's not unlike lorry drivers, office workers. There are a lot of issues with drugs that roll over into working environments, and testing staff and advising them and educating them is equally as important as dealing with the problems that it can produce.
Would you have a completely zero tolerance policy if you're talking about testing staff because of the threat to your business if there was cross-contamination, or do you want to be more human than that?
You cannot stop people doing what they want to do in their own time. But, you know, certainly if somebody was taking drugs at work, then you have a zero tolerance policy. But also you need to be in a position to know that anything that they may have taken, if that is possibly going to contaminate one of the horses you're about to race. You know, there's a lot to lose if a horse is positive and it wins a group race, a decent handicap, it wins a race. You know, all of a sudden that horse loses the race because of a member of staff who's taken drugs recreationally. We have to accept that that is a potential problem and manage it.
I just want to branch this out into, because I think it's important to do so, just bring in the comparisons with the Ed Dunlop case. Had received a year suspended sentence for a horse testing positive for metabolites of cocaine, again due to cross-contamination. Why such a disparity in the sentences?
It seemed to be that because it's a Class A drug, completely banned cocaine, ketamine is allowed certainly in veterinary circles. Cocaine isn't. There was no trace. Nobody held their hands up as to how the cross-contamination could have occurred at Ed's. That seems to be the whole issue. It seems disproportionate, doesn't it? That they knew it was a cross-contamination somewhere. They didn't know how the horse had been cross-contaminated, and suddenly he's got that 12-month threat hanging over his licence. A £1,000 fine, and yet a 12-month suspension.
There is a huge problem here because whenever you have a positive dope test, which we have had one in the past, the BHA turn up, and you know, it's like the police arriving. Here's the paperwork, right? We're testing all of your horses. They haven't started testing the staff yet, which would be interesting. But the minute there's a problem, it makes it really difficult for that member of staff to put their hands up and admit. I mean, the cross-contamination would have come from potentially a member of staff at Ed's Yard, but you know, they're not going to put their hands up and say, oh, I was taking cocaine, sorry, it's me. So all of a sudden, the whole issue is for Ed, and ultimately that's very unfair. But if he has the correct measures in place, then maybe the BHA in the future will look a little bit more leniently on these situations, as they appear to have done with the Gosdens.
David Probert is Hong Kong bound, so somebody else is going to try and nick rides off you, Richard. But he's headed out there as well. Again, I guess the right sort of time for David to make this move. The benefits from it can be huge.
Yeah, as I said before, the potential is massive. He's the sort of rider that they'd like to have in Hong Kong. He's got a very clean riding record. He's a stylish rider. He is shy like me, so he might have to work on that. But fair play to him, it's great.
When you talk about having so that they want that clean riding record, is because they're stricter or what?
They race more on Aussie stewarding, which for interference is a lot stricter than what we can get away with here. So you do need to be a clean rider, yeah.
Do they have number of strikes?
No, there's no whip rule there at the minute, as long as you're in contention. I think they are looking into it. But I thought that helped my riding out there, to be honest.
Go on.
Having no whip rule. Whip rule here, it's always in the back of your mind.
Whereas you felt freer, almost.
Yeah.
But you can't be so... You've got to be more careful if it comes to trying to go through a gap or closing a gap.
Yes, you know, you wouldn't lean on one to get from 3 wide to 2 wide. You've got to be very careful. You've got to be 2 lengths clear there. Whereas here, you can put a bit of pressure on and see if one will back out. And it's race riding, and every jurisdiction has their limits, and you've got to figure out where those limits are.
Thoughts on David?
Good, really good jockey, key cog in the balding wheel over the years. Earned this opportunity, hasn't he? Riding really well. As you say, it's a great time to go. It's a great opportunity, isn't it? Hong Kong come knocking. There's not many jockeys who are going to say, no, not for me. I hope it goes really well for him out there. It's really competitive, but hopefully build some momentum, and you never know where it could take you.
ITV deal proposed an extra 4 years to take us through to 2030. Has to be good news, racing on terrestrial TV.
It's vital, isn't it? Because, I mean, when I was growing up, probably before you were born, show jumping would be on TV. There was a TV trophy on Sports Night for greyhounds. And as soon as sports start disappearing from TV, terrestrial TV, lose that audience, you become irrelevant. And ITV, their output might not be for everybody, but it's there for the general sporting fans. They're getting 1 million viewers for our big days, tuning in for the big events. It's great that one of the big broadcasters still wants to broadcast our sport, and why wouldn't they? It's fantastic spectacle, the seasons, the stories, there's so many great ones to tell, but it's vitally important that we stay in that short window, that we're seen alongside rugby, football, cricket, less so nowadays, but on these terrestrial screens, on these big occasions. And yeah, I mean, it was a Lee Mottershead story in the Post, and it seems like negotiations are progressing really well, and a 4-year deal with all the things that we're battling right now, it would be a piece of good news and something that we can look forward to.
And here we almost go full circle back to where we started with racing tax, because it's the perceived wisdom that racing can exist on terrestrial TV in part because of bookmaker sponsorship, gambling advertising. Without that, it wouldn't be such an attractive financial proposition. And so therein again, it's so important that because of how the sport is funded and structured, that bookmakers stay in the game.
I don't believe there are many blue chip companies waiting in the wings to come in and sponsor ITV. I might be proved wrong. There might be mobile phone providers, I don't know who, computer, or whoever waiting in the wings. We just haven't found them yet. Major banks, they haven't got involved. No. The fact that there are bookmaker sponsorship for the ITV racing goes a long way towards covering the cost and makes it such an attractive sport for them to put on. And as regularly as they do, I mean, there's an awful lot of racing on ITV across the channel. So the seasons are covered almost in its entirety.
And a growing presence with the Irish racing as well. They were willing to show the feature racing in Ireland on ITV. We're lucky, aren't we? I mean, the Tour de France, for example, is massive. Yeah. It's the last year on ITV. It's going away. It's not going to be on terrestrial anymore. I almost don't know how we're doing it, but we're fortunate.
We're very fortunate. And to guarantee that next 4 years is one of the highlights of the news for racing. It's great. I actually sat at home yesterday afternoon watching the racing, and I watched ITV, which I would very rarely do. Thoroughly enjoyed the coverage. It was fun, interesting, and the actual TV work on the races is really exceptional. You get a great view, and it comes across really well. It's a great asset for horse racing, and we should use it as much as we can do.
Ghostwriter is our final one. This is news that Ghostwriter, of course, now out injured, having been purchased for $2 million by Ammo Racing, is going to move Richard to Kevin Philippart de Foy and the Ammo Racing stable. Surprise?
I don't think it's a massive surprise. Firstly, I hope the horse is okay. But Ammo have spent a huge amount of money on Freemasons and appointed a trainer, and as a trainer I'd say you'd want the horses owned by your owner. He's a lovely horse and I hope they do well with him.
Were you surprised they paid $2 million?
I don't know about figures of these horses. They wanted the horse. He's a beautiful horse. His x-rays apparently were 100% clean, which is a rarity. And he's a horse that they can run at the big meetings, and you know, if someone wants it, they pay for it.
He's obviously, we hope he's going to come back fighting fit. I guess it's a sign of an intention from Ammo and Kia that some operations go one way, Dave, and they'll keep horses mixed up. Maybe it's because the horse is injured and they can start again and rebuild. I don't know, but perhaps a sign that they want to give as much strength to Kevin as possible.
Which, as Richard alluded to, makes perfect sense, doesn't it? You invest in Freemason Lodge, you bring your trainer in. If you have a trainer and they're going to look for quite quick returns from the team at Freemason Lodge. If you have a trainer looking to make an impact in big races, you want Ghostwriter in your battalion, don't you? As well as the expensive 2-year-olds, etc. You need an older horse who can turn up at the big meetings and hopefully deliver for you. So I think it's, I mean, Clive Cotson Connections it was sold for 2 million. So do you know what I mean? He's done the previous connections proud. Hope he goes on into Sofa Ammo. But it's interesting because Wathenham, who put their own trainer in Newmarket as well, hadn't seen the influx of horses going there that you might have expected. A handful have, but it's not the same level, not the same number. They're still well represented across the various yards and continue to be so. As Ammo are, it might just be that more and more of the big guns are the well-bred horses. I mean, Kevin was with Kia at the Curragh, wasn't he? He's looking at some of the yearlings for next year already. He's, as you would be, as their trainer in Freemason Lodge, an integral part of this team now.
There we are. That is it for this week's Talking Points.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.